And I'm Sam.
And my mic was muted for that part, so just to do it again, welcome to Sam and Scott are watching Watchmen, the show where we watch the HBO show Watchmen. I am Scott
I'm Sam.
again, and we are here to talk about season 1, episode 8. God walks into a bar. This is our instant reaction to the show. And Sam, I am excited about where the show's going. I think it taking a lot of risks this season. I think they're all paying off. What are your first thoughts after seeing the episode?
I got a little emotional there at the end and everything. It was very, very like, it was very, yay, the love story between Cal and, John and Angela,
Yeah.
it hit right there. And for sure, I thought Angela was about to bite it.
Oh
I
yeah.
thought she was about to bite it. I was like, wow, is the show about to go there? Are they really going to do it? But when the tragic thing was John, so we don't know what's going to happen with him. But it was a very Watchmen episode. We
Mm-hmm.
seen this in I forget which chapter, but I think it was like the third or fourth
Yeah.
chapter
Mm-hmm.
where he goes he sees time in a different in a different thing than we do or whatever.
Right.
He
Right. Right.
experienced time all at one time. So it was a very great way of actually seeing this played out live, in an episode.
It's one of those things they do really well. It's the type of thing that does really convert well to the visual medium, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Really great transition. We saw it deployed to really great effect in the movie. We saw it deployed to
Yeah.
really great effect
Yep.
here. The disjointed timestamp where he sort of is like almost like a wormhole where he can tunnel two pieces of time together,
Yeah. Yeah.
and make it there. So
And even though events are happening, he's not actually he's experiencing them, but he's not really there.
right.
So he gets surprised when Angela says something, or when Jane, back when back when he was with her back in the original Watchmen series,
Mm-hmm.
said something, Lori and everything. He's not actually there,
Right.
but he's still experiencing them. So he's actually able to verbally say, the events that's happening as they're going in time.
And it's so neat the way they portray that as him being sort of unmoored in in time, right?
Right.
Just the way that they do that is so interesting.
Right.
I'm a big fan of how they presented that particular effect.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's something that when you watch when you read the book, it's hard to see how they're going to get that done.
Right. But it's
And
done in a really great way in the
right.
book itself. So, like you said, to say it play in effect and everything is really great to see.
Oh man, absolutely, absolutely. We got some feedback here. Wise Guy 100 says he loved the episode, loved the dialogue. His only downside for him was that the Doctor Man had a glowing effect, looked a little cheap in comparison. But in Wise Guy's defense and our defense too, we've been watching shows like The Mandalorian lately,
Yeah.
and everything in the world looks cheap next to that. And I've actually personally, for
Yeah.
me, I've been rewatching all the Marvel movies on Disney Plus, so
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
on the universe is in fact cheap in comparison.
Well, also look at it like this too. We seen the Watchmen movie and everything. The Watchmen movie, the Zack Snyder movie actually did do justice to the Doctor Manhattan effect and everything.
Oh yeah, for
So
sure.
we get that. We already seen Doctor Manhattan in that movie. So to see him here is sort of like a come down from that effects wise.
Right.
But emotion wise and everything, I think the episode played really good.
It really did. It filled in all those excellent gaps, answered all the questions you may have had about
Yeah.
how did
Yeah.
Adrian get there. Obviously he'd been hiding out in Karnak, and it makes the through line of his story seem so much more interesting now because you see him coming in knowing all of this, and then watching how his own ambition, like for humanity, made him just like
Yeah,
it's like crash.
yeah. He makes a comment about why do they still need to feel the need to make bombs and everything. Well, what did you think was going to happen, Adrian? You killed 3 million people, but for what? Human beings are still going to be human beings at the end of the day. They're made to destroy each other. So I mean, I don't. He was just so full of himself as the villain or whatever. The savior or whatever. He didn't. he didn't anticipate the consequences and everything.
The Messiah complex is strong in Adrian Veidt.
Oh
right?
man,
it's like he's basically like 80% Messiah complex, just like how we're 80% water.
So Crookshanks and Phillips are his parents.
Well, not in a way, right? It's this weird like, it's such a weird. It's such a weird
not Adrian's parents, John's parents.
Well, it's like metaphorical, right? Like the first people he saw creating life, he's emulated in his like childlike innocence. He's retreated into his memory to find these people who were just trying to create a life to replace a son of theirs who'd been murdered by, I guess, disease or whatever. The transportation of the entire English countryside makes me wonder how nobody noticed that. I thought that was a really cool, neat thing.
Well, it was a great way to sort of circle back and frame how he got the idea of creating life from his accidentally seeing his mom and dad going at it and everything.
So that wasn't his parents, right? Just to be not his parents, because those were just two people that lived. They were the people that were the Lord and Lady of the Manor.
And I'm totally off as far as that. Then, so hey, hashtag Hey Sam and stuff. I really thought those
hashtag Hey Sam. It's the only hashtag we use every time.
So those are his parents. Right. So there's two people that live there. Okay, all right.
And then he goes back and emulates Genesis in every way, where he creates the darkness and the lightness and the ocean and the life and all that stuff in order, but doesn't take Sunday off because that's a hack does that if you're Rick Sanchez, right?
Okay.
Also, we saw some more information. Finding out that Osterman's mother left for an SS officer is an interesting little piece there. One thing that's a neat kind of historical in line on that is that the SS were always obsessed with occult and weird, like Aryan religious rituals that were designed to create a race of people that were superior to other races. Right. So they were obsessed with experiments. But John's mother had already created the being that was going to essentially be the fulfillment of Nietzsche's triumph of the will, right? Nietzsche's conception of the overman, or the man who can go beyond morality. That's who Dr. Manhattan really is. And so the irony of his mother leaving his father, who has produced, like already at this time, has produced the offspring that will turn into Dr. Manhattan. She leaves for an SS officer who's going to be in search of the same Aryan godhood himself. So an interesting little through line that you would know if you paid attention to the Wolfenstein video games and the History Channel circa 1998, which my mom used to call the Hitler Channel because it had an H. He was frequently there, but usually as a foil for the heroes and stories. Right? Yeah. I'm so excited that the show has now made itself make sense. The murder of Judd is solved. We know why Will knew about Judd. We know why she knew about Judd, right? We know why Will knew to kill Judd. That there was that clan outfit there, and it's because of an Inception-esque time hole that is created by Dr. Manhattan. Now, let me recall something, and I don't recall. This is the first time we're seeing, with the Alan Moore's Watchmen, and this is the first time we're seeing Angela speaking. So Angela asked him to directly ask her grandfather 10 years ago, as he was talking to him, the Inception portion. She asked him to answer a question. Yeah. So is this the first time that we're actually seeing this play out as an idea that he can actually speak, or he can actually interpret live dialogue through time, and actually. It's the causality pretzel that we've talked about before when we talk about problems with time travel, or time travel not done really well. And here, John always told Will Reeves about this. So Will Reeves was always going to murder Judd, and he was always going to rope Angela into this. So the fact that she was the person that asked after that, it tells you the causality of this, right? Which is the chicken and the egg. And there's a lot of different ways to look at that. Science just kind of has, science has one way to look at that, which is the multiverse theory.
Right.
But if you look at things from a causality of one singular timeline, that Manhattan kind of, if you think of it like spaghetti, right? And he's just sitting, he's the sauce, right? He can kind of go to any point in the timeline when he wants and connect them. So he's cause and consequences himself just by being in existence, right?
Right.
Because there'd be no other way to tie those two together. So the murder of Judd that prompted Lori to come, right? That prompted the investigation, that prompted the changing of the guard, that pushed the time frame forward for all the Tulsa stuff, is caused by Dr. Manhattan being there in the first place. So he is sort of an uncaused cause at the beginning of all of this. None of this would have happened if it weren't for Dr. M.
I know this is about to bring up a whole bunch of theories and craziness on Reddit. I can already see it now. So get set, people. This week is about to be some theory crazy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little worried because we got one episode left. They still have to tie up the whole Lady True thing, and I know next week it's not going to be like a 2-hour episode.
Right.
So I'm just wondering. Because we had none of that in this episode. This is strictly all about Dr. Manhattan and Angela and their relationship and how it built up to what happened in the cliffhanger from last week's episode. And it still played out really well. The whole episode played out, nice and smooth, especially like we were talking about with the back and forth between Dr. Manhattan knowing like the past, present, and future and everything. Yeah.
Well, Mike W. asked in our chat, he asked, do you think Dr. Manhattan knows how this all will end? That's a really good question. And I think it's one of the, it's really one of the overriding questions of causality. For him to know the ultimate ending, he would have to live for it, right?
Right.
But he keeps saying, I'm going to get destroyed. I'm going to get destroyed.
Right.
I want to welcome the people that are just joining us now, just to say hi to everybody who's dropping in here. And just to recap, this is Sam and Scott are watching Watchmen, Season 1, Episode 8. We're talking about how, Dr. Manhattan is Cal and all the revelations we've seen today, including, and I'll just own up to Sam's getting enormous, guys. I don't know if you see this. His cam's dancing around on me. Hold on. I'm going to try to fix that real quick. One second. Okay, now you're transformed and bound to the width, and
there we go. I'm right there right
Fixie
now.
fix.
Okay.
All right. Now we shouldn't have any more problems. All right. So Cal's Dr. Manhattan. The first theory that's dead is my theory from last week, indicating that all of the origin story was putatively total BS. So I'll take the first L of the week. Thank you to the commenter who called me out for being full of it and was correct. I just wanted to say thank you to whoever that.
Get him, commenter, get him.
So, I admitted I thought it was a far-fetched thing. It really is. To me, something like changing the origin story of Dr. M, I think, is within the rights of the show. A show like this to do here.
It's a lot of stuff that's changed. I mean, and the theories just are going to just keep mounting. Like what I said, there's one episode left. I mean, what is about to happen here?
Absolutely. And Matt Fortuna over in our chat, thanks so much for reminding me it was you that called me out. So thank you for calling me out. And
get him, Matt. Get him.
And then hearing me throw a bunch of shit at you on the main cast, and then coming back for the instance. So thanks so much.
Right. Hashtag hate Scott. Hashtag hate Scott. Oh man, we on Nerdcyclopedia love it when he's wrong because he will tell us when he's right, folks.
I pretty much don't say anything else except for that I'm right. Ask my wife; she'll tell you it's a real illness. It's a real illness.
Oh man, great episode though. I love the reveal. I love the fact of we're knowing. Well, what do you think about the end credits there?
So we did get dropped a question here asked about the end credits here. That was Theodore Wing III. Thanks for dropping in. Hope it's a real name because that's a cool name. So the end credits scene here at the end. All right. So the horseshoe. So what?
Back to the horseshoe.
What these clone husks, these Dr. Manhattan humans. I want to say slugs. I don't mean like you drop salt on them. I mean like in a bullet. You know what I mean? Like an empty bullet. So these human slugs. It seems to me like they have an idea that on the day they make the cake, they have to put something in the cake for Adrian, and it's a horseshoe. And it would seem to me like that's the type of thing Dr. Manhattan would drop on him. Just be like, listen, do whatever he says, and make him a cake, put a horseshoe in the cake, he'll need it. So they keep saying, oh, would you like this? And they don't get it, right? Because they don't understand, like, okay, maybe they don't even get time, because the Garden of Eden had no time. So it's something super duper weird. A couple years ago, I went on the internet and I found a website called LibriVox, and LibriVox is not our website, but it's a website that has free audiobooks. And I downloaded the book The Count of Monte Cristo, right? And Adrian, like, scratching away at the mortar there on the brick reminded me so much of the escape scenes from that book, which is, of course, one of the classics of the genre of revenge fiction. So The Count of Monte Cristo is this big, it's like maybe the most famous prison story in history, and it's a revenge story. So Adrian's coming, and he's coming for revenge. I mean, who's he feel tricked by, right?
Right.
Dr. Manhattan. It sure seems like everybody is converging in Tulsa, and everybody that's converging in Tulsa has the same idea, and that is to murder Dr. Manhattan. And for some of them, become Dr. Manhattan in some way. Now, let me ask you this. So, all right. Here, this is a theory. You ready for my speculative theory? Guys, I'm going to go do some theory crafting here, so if you're sticking around the chat, get ready to...
He does have his tinfoil with him.
I don't do tinfoil anymore because everything's crazy on the show.
Right,
There's no need,
right.
because the craziest theory is always right, except this week. So all the pieces are set up for the final confrontation over the life and death of Dr. Manhattan.
Right.
We are ready to see what's going to happen. We have Adrian escaping from Europa. We have John in Tulsa, Angela in Tulsa, Lori in Tulsa, the senators in Tulsa. Lady True is just spinning up the Millennium Clock. And Dr. Manhattan has been forcibly teleported away, perhaps not knowing what's going to happen to him at all. All these plots are going to be intertwined. There's one resolution that's going to fix all this up. And so what we're going to see next week is we're going to see all the stuff that everyone in the chat is screaming for, which is what's going on with Looking Glass, what's going on with Adrian, like how's he going to escape, how's he going to get back from Europa, like
all this needs to be resolved in one episode, guys. Like I said, I'm worried. I'm worried. I love dating Lindelof and everything, but hey, he hasn't done the best things with final episodes. Even though I love Lost, but anyway.
But he did stick the landing at the end of the first season. Lost, right?
Oh, he stuck the landing with leftovers too. So
I think we all got to remember, if you're worried a little bit about the Lindelofian finishing, don't forget we are nowhere near the end of where this series should end up, because it's critically acclaimed. It's award-winning. The actors are tremendous. The characters are tremendous. How about Jeremy Irons looking just depressed and wearing that 1985 skinny tie, you know what I mean? The cloth jacket thing that comes up to here.
Right.
Doing this whole outdated 1980s thing and saying, why do they keep making mistakes, and slamming his hand down.
Why do they keep making bombs? I'm like, okay, all right, Adrian, hey, it's just so funny. And it's good to see that the vivarium.
Yeah.
It's good to see that they're in Antarctica and everything. So that was good. That was a good callback to the graphic novel and
all
stuff.
That wreckage. That was just
all the
everywhere.
wreckage and everything.
I mean, the scale of there's an epic scale to the history of this show, which is so so copacetic, so in line with the spirit of the book.
The guy gets it. I mean, Damon Lindelof and his I've seen Jeff Jensen. He was a big contributor to as far as writing recaps of Lost and everything. So if you guys watch Lost and read a lot of Jeff Jensen's recaps in the Entertainment Weekly 10, 15 years ago and everything, he used to go really in depth in what a lot of the meaning of a lot of the episodes were. So I've seen his name on the writer credits and everything on this show. So I mean, it's really great to see him there, and they get the material is my point. They get the material in ways that Alan Moore, I know, would appreciate. He would have to, and if it wasn't for the simple fact that he cursed, anybody who would take on any parts of any of his adaptations. He once said that his material could never be adapted into film. And this is sort of proven maybe his point wrong.
Well, let's think about a few things here, and this is stuff that Dr. Manhattan could see, but what definitely could not be seen is technology in the future. And right now, sitting in we're both in our basements. I'm sorry, the fabulous Nerdcyclopedia Studios. And we've got like TV studios in our basements, and I'm not like John Rockefeller. Like, I'm not JDR here. I'm not that type of rich. So, I don't think Alan Moore could foresee the technology that allows us to bring stories.
Not at all.
The way we bring
not
it.
at all.
If you showed someone from 1987 Avengers 3 and Avengers 4, their brains would melt out of their heads and run down the back of their mouth.
Hey,
it'd be crazy.
I'm a lifelong comic, book fan from since I was 6 years old. You know what I'm saying? So seeing the era that we're in right now, as far as technology and what we're seeing on TV from Avengers, superhero stuff, science fiction stuff, to Watchmen. Yeah. I've never thought I would see Watchmen on TV.
And it isn't chintzy. It isn't chintzy. It isn't cheap. It isn't. It doesn't look like the old TV Captain America, right? It doesn't look like that. It doesn't look like guys running around in felt. The Dr. Manhattan that we saw today looked like Cal, right? Like I said. And obviously this is an artifact of his impression.
I love the way Angela said, okay, you still have Cal's face and everything, so they're basically just acknowledging we never get to see Dr. Manhattan as John, in the John form and everything, because maybe that would be a little confusing. Well,
symbolism.
But
it's all symbolism, right? So why wouldn't we be able to see his face? Why wouldn't we be able to see his true identity? Because he hides it from us. Because he's unable to access it. It doesn't exist. It's a hole. So his humanity is not there. So his face doesn't matter.
The first thing he puts on when he walks into the bar, a guy walks into a bar. Get it? A bar. He walks into a bar and puts on the Dr. Manhattan mask and everything.
Absolutely. And that's the crazy thing, right? The most famous man on Earth, a man who can blow things up with his fingers in the land he conquered himself. This is like Caesar in Gaul. And he can be anonymous because what matters about him is absolutely not his personhood. And that is such an interesting way to look at that character. It's the type of thing that you don't expect to see in what is the modern version of the Republic serial, right? That's what TV is. And for it to reach a level of narrative complexity and to reach, let's think about this for a second. In the last 3 weeks, we've got this entire story showing all of Dr. Manhattan's powers, a continuation of the Adrian Veidt story, the entire origin, effectively, of Angela Abar, the entire origin of Looking Glass, and the real entire origin of Hooded Justice, all just in the first season. So if I am telling you what this season is this is a season of origin stories. Just one after another, after another, after another. And as our chat is telling me, they've ordered. I'm hearing rumors they're ordering up more seasons, although I haven't seen the news alert, which makes me a terrible podcaster.
Okay, so guys, let me tell you about the real on what I believe, and this is what I believe as far as future seasons and everything. Okay, so Damon Lindelof was burned by Lost, the ending of Lost. People really, there was a lot of hatred on the way Lost ended. So he put everything, when he was brought upon to do Watchmen, he was real hesitant on even doing this because he loved the material so much that he didn't even want to touch it. But at the same time, the thought of someone else actually doing the material, besides him, just left him just like, okay, well, at least I got to tackle and at least try. So I'm going to put everything, and what we're witnessing right now is him putting everything into this season. So that's why we're getting so much complexity and just so much great narrative and everything into this season. So of course HBO is going to want more. This is sort of like a True Detective type of thing. Damon Lindelof said he may do another season. He may not. Depends on how this next episode and the reaction will be. I truly believe if he sticks the landing on this next episode, he is so in the game for future Watchmen. We better hope. And even if people don't like this ending, guys, remember the journey. Remember the journey. That was the whole point of Lost. The journey of Lost was just so great, and the journey of Leftovers was just so great. Remember the journey that you felt up to this point on this great narrative show that we're watching right now. So if you do get disappointed by the ending, and if you think that it wasn't all worth it, just remember the feeling that you have right now of this journey, because we need this guy and his staffing and his narration and everything to do more shows. I want more Damon Lindelof Watchmen episodes.
I want to see more too. I'm not satisfied with the one season. I mean, we'll see how the story ends here. I think, a big deal on the satisfaction meter on this one's going to be, what the heck is the Millennium Clock? This thing has been sitting there in the background of the whole show ever since that first pullback scene from 2019.
Yes.
It has to be awesome. Yes. That, to me, they got to stick that landing. We got some guys in chat. Again, thank you all for joining us. One of the questions we're seeing in chat is, do you think we're going to get a battle of Dr. Manhattans, or do you think they're going to zap Dr. Manhattan's power? Now, I have my crazy prediction, which is almost always right. I think that what Cal has been doing when he makes waffles is taking some of Dr. Manhattan's power and delivering it to the people that eat the waffles. Is what I think. Sometimes. Maybe not every time. Maybe not everything he makes.
Okay.
But there's got to be a really good reason that he goes, "Oh, I'm hungry," after they show us him saying, like, "I can take my powers and I can put them in some food and you could eat it. And, I guess you could call yourself a Dr. Manhattan if you did that. I'm hungry and I want waffles now, Sam."
So, all of a sudden you just want waffles.
Yeah. So my thinking here is that maybe they will destroy Dr. Manhattan, but somebody else is going to get access to the abilities of Dr. Manhattan. And maybe the problem that Lady True sees isn't so much that Dr. Manhattan doesn't care, but that Dr. Manhattan is John Osterman. And if Dr. Manhattan was someone that did care, that wasn't John Osterman, and that did felt a deep connection to humanity, then maybe they would be able to actually use the powers of Dr. Manhattan to bring about Adrian Veidt's utopia, which he will live to see, according to a certain blue bedonged person.
So, Scott, what was the first thing John learned after he was destroyed in an intrinsic changer? What's the first thing that he said that he learned?
Put himself back together, right?
I don't think John is Cal John. I don't think he's dead or is going to die. I think this is a guy that's just going to live in some instance, some form or fashion forever or whatever, whatever you want to call it.
So let's say you're right. Let's say you're right. So what is his end? What is Dr. Manhattan looking for that he can't give himself? Well, I'll tell you, it's a companion. He can't make his own companion. And I think that that's proven by what Adrian is going through on Europa. Because these perfect beings that just want to serve and give and love, they can't offer companionship. And that is what is driving Adrian insane, because they're not fully human. And so the Doctor cannot just conjure up a companion for himself. He has to have it created by an outside means, because he doesn't know how to create life, but obviously life has been created, so something must know how to create that sort of humanity, right?
What did we see the warden say at the end there, and the end of credits and everything? The warden was like, I know all about loneliness and everything, about being alone and stuff, So if this is Dr. Manhattan's true intention, well, I guess in a way, if we are in theory to live and then we die, as they alluded to in the episode, is where eventually doesn't things always end in, everything always end in tragedy, in a way, because you eventually die. So as we walk about life, we're crazy looking for a companion to walk with us, right?
Absolutely.
It's a big idea, but it's at its core, it's the simplest idea, You're only on this earth for so long, so you might as well be with somebody, have somebody to talk to while you're on it.
So let's think about Frankenstein. And all right, I got it. I know that's like really all that, like off the wall to just say the word Frankenstein all of a sudden. So Frankenstein's monster was in the book a creation that was super intelligent and super strong, right? The movies dumbed down Frankenstein's monster. In the book, he's like a savant and highly intellectual. But the problem is that he doesn't have a companion, and he can't create a companion. And he follows the Dr. Frankenstein around, demanding that he create a companion, right? Mm-hmm. Well, the one key difference in, story and everything between Frankenstein and Dr. Manhattan is that Dr. Manhattan created himself. So
yes, he did.
So if he demands a companion, there's no one for him to go to except Adrian Veidt. Now, let me ask you this. If you were Dr. Manhattan, and let's say you were...
If I was Dr. Manhattan.
If you were Dr. Manhattan, you probably have more important things to do with your time than this. But when you think about it, who is in Tulsa right now? Mm-hmm. Not just Angela. Lori Blake is in Tulsa.
Yep.
So it would seem if you were to pick someone who's going to be the bride of Dr. Manhattan, for lack of a better term, that there are plenty of candidates between Lori and Angela, obviously, and of course Lady True. Mm-hmm. I think that there are a lot of candidates and people that might want to be with Dr. Manhattan in Tulsa right now. So that's sort of where I feel like they're going. Obviously, that's just some... I just yanked that from...
Hey, it's there, as some people would say. I mean, it's some meat on those bones that you're baking there, cooking in the oven and everything. Let's hope Scott is right next week.
And if not, it doesn't matter. Don't do anything like that. No, people do not need to be atted here, Samuel.
Oh man.
Anyway.
Hey, we appreciate you guys. We probably ran a little long, but it was a great episode to talk about, man.
It really was. And, next week, it seems like we're going to get the resolutions we didn't get this week. So I know some of you are impatient. Relax. They're going to show us the magic trick. We don't really have to worry about that so much.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to future seasons. I want to know what's going on with Dan Dreiberg. So, if they're leaving that on the table for, another season, I'm all good with that.
Great nugget.
Great nugget, because I mean, he was at 4. I keep going back to that the 4 picture window back in Lori's hotel room or whatever room that she was in, and we know all about Dr. Manhattan, we know all about Lori, we know all about Adrian. It was a reason why they had Night Owl right there, Dan Dreiberg in a 4th spot. So he's the other element that they may be leaving for next season.
Absolutely. And if they're gonna save some stuff for later, that's fine with me, as long as we get to see it.
As long as we get to see more. I want more. Right. I want to keep this going. 9 episodes, that's not enough.
We know this show, Warner Brothers, or else you're gonna get the business. I'm gonna be the one to give it to you. Sorry guys, that got crazy. I apologize.
Thank you guys for chatting with us, man. Yeah. It's awesome. It's always awesome for you to comment and leave comments. Make sure that you're subscribing, and tell your friends and share, Make sure that you're sharing everything. We love watching it just like you guys.
And if you're hearing this on the podcast feed, hey, we have a YouTube channel. This podcast you're listening to right now, you want to see our gorgeous faces? I try not to overpromise, but I'm overpromising there. You can head right on over to our channel, Nerd Cyclopedia, just like you'll see on the screen, or in the show notes if you're coming from the podcast side. We'd love to get some mix and match on that, so if you're coming from one to the other, go ahead and do so. Follow us, subscribe. We just want you to be able to get our content, and the way things are going, we're thinking the release types are going to be shifting around a little bit, so to get everything, you're going to want to subscribe to both the podcast feeds and the YouTube channel.
And remember, we're doing also The Mandalorian, so we got that coming up. And as Scott, we got Scott's Nobody Cares segments and everything. So we got some content. Make sure that you're on our website, nerdcyclopedia.com, where you can get all our links and or articles.
And check out check out our interview with Dan Ekus from last week for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. Great creator and everything. Definitely check that out. I'll be coming up with a couple articles this week, so make sure that you guys are checking the Peteypedia files tomorrow morning. Can't wait to see those.
Hot off the presses.
Hot off the presses.
All right. Anything else you want to say to the fine people of the podcasting universe?
Hey, Thanks for watching us. Great episode. We'll see you we'll talk to you again on Tuesday for the full recap cast.
And if you do have feedback to send us, we will be recording that episode tomorrow night around 9. So get that over to us at watchingwatchmen@nerdcyclopedia.com. All right, signing off. This is Scott signing off here.
Sam.
And we'll see you later.
Right.